Ahoy! And welcome to Manning Overboard, Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain, a show about the good in liquid life,
where we talk about bars, bartending, and booze.
She's Hotcakes.
And he's the Captain.
Thanks for coming aboard. Now, let's go overboard. Ahoy there! I'm the Captain, Rich Manning, and with me as always is my lovely wife, Heather Hotcakes.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hopefully I didn't stumble too badly, but
You did
here
great.
we are. Yeah, thank you. I needed that validation.
Fantastic.
Excellent. So I see you have a cocktail in my hand, and so do I. How about that?
What are
we drinking?
Well, in honor of our guest today, I decided to make us 2 drinks from her YouTube channel and Instagram page. So for you, I decided to make a blinker.
Oh, beautiful.
Which is an easy 3-ingredient cocktail, a rye, grapefruit, and grenadine cocktail.
And I saw that on her YouTube page, and it looked delicious, so I can't wait to dig into it.
Perfect. And for me, I made the controversial red wine sangria. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. So before we drink, why don't you introduce our guest?
I will do that. So today's guest is Bad Birdy. Bad Birdy is owner and operator of the bar Kuduowl in Downey, California, which is a suburb of Los Angeles.
Indeed.
And, she also, the bar itself landed on the Imbibe 75 list as a place to watch. So that's a pretty big deal. She is a big deal because she is also a force in the LA bar scene. And also she's an industry entrepreneur. And she's a consultant that's worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, some of the biggest bars in the industry. And she's also a social media icon. You can pretty much count on her being up to something cool. So without further ado, welcome Bad Birdy to Manning Overboard.
Thanks for joining us. Hi. What are you drinking today?
Today I'm having the Hypnotize. This is actually one of our drinks on our signature cocktail menu. It's got shiitake infused gin, yuzu, pineapple, cinnamon, and a nice little pineapple leather that we make in house on top.
Sounds delicious. Well, cheers.
Cheers. Oh no, I just spilled some blinker.
As did I.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's delicious.
We are so happy that you are joining us today. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Yeah, it's not proof, bro.
So, we have a couple of questions for you. Obviously, the first question is, you are known for your Instagram and YouTube presence. But you have a long history of bartending knowledge and bartending bone growing, as I call it. So can you explain to the people at large, where did your bartending history come from? Where is your hospitality bones grown?
Yeah, I've pretty much been in hospitality since I could start working, so around 16 years old. And I've done essentially all kinds of positions in hospitality. I started off by working at Universal Studios in like the catering department. So we did a lot of movie premieres, all sorts of grad nights, things like that. And it was either 2 kinds of styles. It was either buffet service or a fine dining sit down plated service. So that was like the start of my hospitality. After that, I moved to Olive Garden and Cerritos, where I was a server there, and then quickly moved into this certified trainer, assistant manager, bartender. But bartender there only for a short amount of time, just because I liked more the serving side of it at Olive Garden. And I would say at the OG is where I learned a lot of like the corporate side of the business, and a lot of what I've learned there, especially the training style, I still use today. And I think I always say this all the time, like if you've worked at Olive Garden, you're a good employee. So I love anybody that comes from OG. And then from there, I went to my first craft cocktail bar, which was in my hometown in Downey as well. And that's where I really fell in love with the craft. And I had never bartended at that level before. Really got to like dive deep, and I just geeked out. I fell in love with it right away. And part of the reason is because I like cooking, and for me bartending is very similar to cooking.
Sure.
And that was in 2014. So 10 years later, here I am back in my hometown, bartending at my own bar. And in between that time, from my first craft cocktail bar, I was able to work for a company that owned restaurants on a global scale. So as their
Okay.
global cocktail creative, I went all around the world from Japan, China, South Africa, London, and I was able to see what other bars were doing and kind of take what I've learned overseas and bring that back home. So really, I've had a really well-rounded experience in hospitality, and I continue to be a student of the craft. You know, I wouldn't say I know it all yet. I know I still have a lot more to learn, especially as a business owner now.
That's great. And that actually solves the question about why Downey, because that's your hometown.
Yeah, I was
Downey's
born and raised
actually, yeah, Downey's kind of a cool thing. I grew up a couple cities over. And, if
Oh,
you
really?
know Downey, if you know that area of Los Angeles, you know it's a heavily Hispanic neighborhood. And when I was growing up,
Exactly.
the joke was Downey was Mexican Beverly Hills. It's like if you
Yeah, that people
moved
still
to,
tell it that.
yeah, if you moved to Downey, you made it. As a
Yeah, yeah.
And it was really cool. So there's great multicultural history there. I mean, I think James Hetfield from Metallica grew up there. The Carpenters, the old '70s pop duo, grew up there. So there's a lot of cool things going on in that city. And the Kuduowl is now the latest, coolest thing. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
and one of the nicest things too about the city is that the locals really like to go out and support their businesses here in the city. So, growing up, I've always seen, some of the places that have been here since I was a kid are still thriving today.
that's awesome.
That's fantastic.
That's really cool. Yeah. I mean, Downey was just, I remember Downey just being a cool city growing up. So I'm glad that it still has that cool cachet to it. Now, let's step away from the bar for a second. Let's go into your YouTube and your social media stuff. How do I hear a lot of people whine about social media bartenders not being as skilled as people behind the stick. How do you combat that stereotype?
Well, I mean, I got into social media and scale of my page by accident. I was working at my first craft cocktail bar, and I was just really excited to work there. And it was around the same time that Instagram started, and I was using it as a way to promote the bar and have people come visit us and showcase some of the cocktails that I was doing at the time, and it just took off from there. So it really just was by chance that things really worked out the way they did. I never thought that I would be in this position when it comes to what people have to say on social media. Like, I've learned that you can't please everyone, and someone
Yeah.
is always going to have an opinion. Someone is always going to have something negative to say to you. Unfortunately, that's just the world we live in. I try to not pay any close attention to that. For me, even if it's negative comments, you're still helping my algorithm. So go ahead and talk all the shit you want to talk. You're just helping me on the back end anyway. Um,
I love that.
but you know, but
So good.
the reality is, if you have something negative to say about me and you're taking the time to put that on my page, it's just a reflection of who you are and your own insecurities. So that's just the way I look at it.
I have to say I love how you are highlighting the positive comments on your page, and then also calling out some of the trolls and calling out some of the
Yeah.
saltier comments. I mean,
Yeah.
I mentioned the red sangria. That was a controversial cocktail that you made. I have to say, it's quite
Good.
delicious. What do you
Thank
think
you.
made this? What made this so controversial? Was it the Coca-Cola in it?
I didn't Honestly, I didn't realize it was going to be so controversial. It's funny because I always have a list of cocktails I'm going to do for social media, and the sangria was something that had been on the list for a while. And this is a sangria that I've been making for over 10 years, and I don't have like a batch sangria at the bar because it's not something we really sell. But having something that I can create for our guests on the fly is to me beneficial for us because at least I can offer them something similar, right? And everyone that's had that sangria loves it. Now, when it comes to why was it so controversial, well, all of Spain is up in arms because apparently I didn't make a traditional sangria. And that's okay. I wasn't saying that I was making something traditional. I wasn't trying to minimize their culture or their traditions or take a jab at it. I was just showing people what I do at my bar.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that I believe in greatly is that there's more than one way to do things. And, you know, part of being in this space of creating cocktails and even for chefs, you know, everything is, you take bits and pieces all the time from other cultures and from other chefs and other bartenders, and everyone in the space borrows from each other, and that's okay. I don't
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
anything wrong with evolution of cocktails and evolution of recipes. That's just how it is. That's part of the beautiful part about creativity.
Yeah. I mean, cultural influence from multicultural influence are how you get some great dishes. I mean, Chifa cuisine is the first thing that comes to mind. Peruvian Chinese
Hmm.
influences get together and you create something delicious like lomo saltado, um,
Yeah.
which is amazing. And it boggles my mind that the Spaniards had a problem with that. I would hope that then nobody in Spain is ordering riffs on classics then because that's this kind of a similar vein. So
Well, here's
yeah.
the thing. I won't necessarily knock all the Spaniards, but I realize that there are people that are that they're traditionalists, right? They don't
Right.
like
Hmm.
change, and I think you could say that's most people don't like change. So, but there was some people that were from Spain that were coming, to my defense and saying, hey, it does have all the components of what a sangria, the definition of what it is. It might not be your traditional sangria, but according to the definition, it still fits those components.
So let me ask you this: why do you add the splash of cola? I mean, I think I know, but why do you add the splash of cola?
Yeah, I mean, the Coke just adds that little bit of complexity.
Yeah.
A traditional sangria has some sort of carbonated, beverage in there. My option was Coke.
Yeah. No, I like it, and it's got that spice component to it. I mean, Coca Cola, when you break it down, it's a spicy soda,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
sangria has the spice. It's got the cinnamon, and it's got some different spice complexities to it. And Coca Cola is a delicious product. It's been around for a century,
Yeah.
so yeah, it makes sense, and
yeah.
it is delicious. You want to give it a try?
Yes. You can try the blinker
My
before
whole
it
thing is
disappears.
like, look, I'm making recipes for people to, try
Ooh.
and see if they're interested in making this at home.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of my channel. It's lighthearted. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
about hosting. You can go on my page and find a cocktail that you want to use at your special event or next birthday party, whatever it is. It's not meant to be something so trivial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you are on social media. I also love the tribe that you have seemed to have developed amongst the social media gang of bartenders. You all seem to have developed this kind of tribe mentality, and you support each other. What do you think helps to keep you all grounded and moving forward?
I mean, it really is looking at it in a way where we're not in competition with each other. We should be helping and supporting each other, and we very much are on the back end, giving each other advice and talking to each other about like all sorts of aspects of this,
Right.
even like the
Hmm.
social media aspect and the business side of things. Like, hey, how to approach brands,
Yeah.
what to look for in contracts, how to price yourself properly, knowing your worth and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're very much involved in helping each other out, and that's how it should be. I think a lot of creatives get taken advantage of, and especially in the bartender realm, there are some brands that reach out and they want to have you create all sorts of content for them in exchange for free booze. But free booze doesn't pay my bills,
No.
and
Yeah.
this is a good portion of my income now. So I have to make sure that I'm able to, survive off of this in order to succeed. And free bottles of booze is not what's going to help me. And to me, that's just a bit of an insult. You should be taking care of these creatives that are taking time to use your product, to talk about your product, and and create something.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge thing with all creatives across the board. I mean, in the journalism side, we used to call that exposure bucks. It's like we'll get you exposure.
Hmm.
Yeah, great. Exposure does not pay my mortgage or does not keep the lights on in my house. So I totally
Yeah.
agree with you with that, and just keep fighting the good fight with that. Just because what you guys do on social media is really important because there's just another avenue for education,
Yeah.
and that's really
Absolutely.
as we're dealing with the ebbs and flows and mostly the ebbs of the alcohol industry right now, getting that message out there, keeping that fresh, and keeping that conversation going is incredibly important. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
How do you think where the trends of alcohol and drinking are going? Do you think social media is playing a part to, yes, keep drinking responsibly, learning how to drink responsibly? Do you think social media and social media people, bartenders, are helping to keep people curious about going out and going into bars and wanting to order certain cocktails?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, especially now having my page and then owning a bar, I have guests coming in that are coming in to ask me for the exact cocktails that I made on my page.
it's
And
great.
I think it's making people more curious and giving them, the opportunity to order outside of what they might normally order.
Mhm.
And I think that's incredible. And as far as like the trends that I see, I definitely see a lot of people taking their cocktails to a whole nother level and trying to emulate maybe things that are nostalgic to them, right? So mimicking entrees and different types of foods and fun
Sure.
stuff, which for me, those are my favorite type of cocktails to make, and I've been doing that since I first started bartending. And that's what I really love to do was how do I make this cocktail taste like a peanut butter jelly sandwich, for example, right?
Yeah.
So I really see a lot of people doing that, and the trend of making your cocktails taste like food. I think people are still on that trend, but I definitely see people eventually coming back to like, okay, let's get back to the basics and playing with modifiers, right? Because there's
Hmm.
a whole arsenal out there of spirits, of liqueurs, of bitters, and things like that, and we have so much available. Trying to create cocktails from scratch with all those modifiers, sometimes that could be really fun too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And also, I mean, even with existing categories, there's a whole new worlds that have opened up in the last decade. Specifically, I'm thinking of vermouth. 20, 25 years ago,
Yeah.
you didn't have really great vermouth, and now you have stuff that will just blow you away. You could have just a pour of vermouth with a little lemon twist and be perfectly happy because there's some great stuff in there, and that would allow you to like really inspire you to play around with that space a little bit more because the products are just better.
Hmm. Yeah, they are definitely.
So let's get back to Kuduowl. Where did the name come
Sure.
from, and what is the bar all about? Because it's a cool space. It's really fun. It's large.
It's huge and it's beautiful.
Yeah. So give all the details, please.
Yeah, so the name Kuduowl what came from a dream. And essentially,
Oh,
my best friend and I, who's one of my business partners, he we were trying to think of a really good name, and this is during COVID, right? We had all this spare time, and we were like, let's this is our time to like come up with a cool concept. So during that time, we had all these names, and our group of friends and my wife was like, "Nah, I don't like any of those names that you chose. You need to." My wife literally told me, she's like, "You need to sleep on it and pray on it." I said, "Okay." So that night is what I did. I slept on it, prayed on it, and I asked for some sort of sign, you know, that would, you know, it would be a symbol that represents Cody and I, my best friend. And so that night, I dreamt of this giant blue owl visiting me, like huge, like the size of a dinosaur. But it felt like a spiritual protector, and it had those horns coming out of its head. And when I woke up, I was like, "Wow, that was incredible." It felt so like magnificent. And I told my wife and I told Cody about it, and they were stoked. And I said, I don't know, like, is the name supposed to be Blue Owl? I know this is the sign that I asked for, but I couldn't think of like what kind of horns it had on its head because they were very specific. So that night, Cody goes out to a friend's house, and he takes a picture of this taxidermy that he has on the wall. And he said, "Are these the horns you saw?" And sure enough, it was the exact animal that I saw, and that animal's
Whoa.
named Kudu, which is a rare antelope in Africa. And so we put it together, Kudu Owl. I said that's the name of this creature, like this mystical creature that I dreamt of. And so funny that I would have that dream, and then the next day he'd see that animal. And when I look at the spiritual meaning of both animals, it really describes Cody and I.
That's so cool.
That's
So
not
trippy.
funny. That's
Damn cool is what it is.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. That's amazing.
That's serendipitous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and no one else has that name. No one there was no other business. Like we looked up, to obviously to trademark it and things. Nobody
Yeah.
has that name, so it is unique and has a pretty cool background story, and we share that story on our menu. But as far as the space itself,
Yeah.
we're in a we're in the historic movie theater of Downey that was built in the 1920s, and the space was closed down in 2004, and the city had put out, pretty much an offer for some entrepreneurs to come in and see if they can come up with a concept, and whoever had the best concept would be able to purchase the building. And so the these two friends of mine that they're very successful businessmen, and one of them is actually a mentor to me. They won the opportunity to come into this space and do this concept. So the space itself has four concepts. There's us, we're like the high end, like high volume craft cocktail bar, and then
Mm-hmm.
downstairs there's a nightclub called Vessel. Off to the right there is a Latin restaurant highlighting South American cuisine. And then there's a fast casual pizza spot, which is on Downey Avenue, and it still has the original marquee of the movie theater. And each space moves through the other. You can, pretty much spend a whole night here with us. Come have cocktails with us, have dinner downstairs, go to the nightclub. And then the pizza shop is really cool because they still stay open till 3 in the morning. So when you're done at the nightclub, you're forced to exit through the pizza shop. And of course, who doesn't want a slice of pizza after a night of drinking? So
Oh my
it's a
gosh,
very
yes.
unique.
It's so well thought out, and so much so that it's gotten some national attention since it wound up on the Imbibe 75 list, which
Yeah.
is incredibly coveted and so damn cool.
Yeah. Congratulations
Yeah.
on that. Like,
Well done.
I when I saw your face on that list, as someone who is a friend of yours, I was so excited for you. Did you know that was
Yeah, we
coming?
were
Did you
super
have to
proud
keep
of it.
it? Did you know that was coming? Did you have to
I
keep it a
couldn't.
secret?
Yeah, we knew ahead of time because they reached out and they told us they were going to include us. So I didn't say anything until it released.
Was that a hard secret to keep?
Yeah. Well, I'm not like a super braggadocious person, so
Yeah.
my wife knew, and that was it. When it came out, I actually had forgotten. I was like, oh yeah, everyone started posting, and I was like, oh yeah, it's out, awesome.
No, that was such great news. And it's not just great news. I mean, obviously, it's a fantastic news for you, but it's
Yeah.
also it's great news for the community. It's great news for the outer edges of the LA scene. And
Yeah.
it's great news to see that not just LA, but
The
outside of
suburbs.
LA, the suburbs can get some recognition as well.
Yeah.
And kudos to
Yeah.
you for
And
being a pioneer in that field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
do you
appreciate
think
that.
that?
I have a.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
it's okay. What was your question?
I was just gonna say, do you
You want
think
me to?
that you're kind of a pioneer of building really quality cocktail programs in suburbs? Because
You know, I actually, it was actually intentional because I am not a fan of downtown LA.
Okay.
okay,
I have worked there before and obviously been to quite a few bars there. The reason I'm not a fan of downtown is because I feel like there's not a lot of loyalty, you know? And when you're in a smaller city, the locals feel like wow, we have this hidden gem that's ours, like it represents our city. So I've always
Sure.
wanted to open up a bar outside of downtown LA in a smaller suburb type of area, and I still have intentions of opening multiple bars in suburbs.
excellent.
And I think when you have like the loyalty from your one little city and your own little town, you're always going to be successful because you're always going to cater to those people, and then people from outside cities are going to come visit you, right? And I think that's one thing that downtown LA lacks is that loyalty from their city.
Okay,
That makes perfect sense.
yeah,
The idea of wanting to have the locals, wanting to have the repeat customers, wanting to have those people come in. And
Yeah,
do you have your bar flies? Do you have the people that come in on a regular basis and sit down
100%.
and
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's great.
And since I started here in Downey, all the regulars that I had 10 years ago are now back here at my bar. So it is full circle for us, and they've watched us grow. They've been supporting us even when we moved outside of the city. So it's been an incredible honor, and to open up in my hometown.
I would think that Downey would be thrilled about that because if people are coming to your bar. That probably means they're going to be coming down and checking out what else is happening in your city, which is good for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's how community is built. So that's awesome. Yeah.
now I have a completely personal question. How's Poe?
He's good. He's right here next to me.
For those of you who don't know, Poe, there's Poe. Poe's the best.
Yay.
Hi,
Poe
buddy.
is just the sweetest pup. Oh, hi,
Oh,
sweet
sweet.
boy. If
He's,
you watch
he's,
any of Birdie's
he's usually
videos, I was going to talk
he's
about your
usually on the
shirt that
road
you
with me.
wear. Yeah.
Oh, my Poe shirt. Yeah, that's
Yes.
my favorite shirt.
Yeah.
He's my little.
I love
That's
him
great.
so much. I was lucky enough to get to come down and spend time with you and one afternoon and got to meet Poe, and it was just a joy. So I can't tell you how much I appreciated that. That was fun.
I mean, he makes everybody happy. So, I gotta bring him with me everywhere.
He's a good boy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
your name,
Bad
Bad
Birdie.
Birdie. Oh, where did that come from? And how did that become your brand, your calling card? Because I mean, the first time that
Yeah.
I
So,
saw you was I was going through all this list of all these people. It was a project you were working on, and I see all these other
mhm.
names that I recognize, and I'm like, Bad Birdie. I'm like, okay, this is new. This is fun. So, talk to me about it. How'd that come about?
Yeah, so I had a friend that called all his girlfriends birdies, and for some reason that name Birdie just kind of stuck with me. So it was a nickname for a long time, and then like from 19 to 27, I'd say I was the DJ, and Bad Birdie was my stage name.
Okay.
But it was a fun time. I got to DJ all over the place in Vegas, Miami, Ibiza. Um, it was fun for my 20s, but not something I wanted to do in my 30s. So
Sure.
Yeah.
around Around 27, 28 is when I started doing craft cocktails, and I just fell in love with it. So I transitioned to that, and that was still my handle on Instagram. So it was Bad Birdy the DJ, then Bad Birdy the bartender.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it, and I love that people just call you Birdie, and that's so fitting. It's so perfect.
Yeah, still is a nickname.
Yeah.
Now, here's an odd question that I just thought of. You spent years as a DJ. Do you see any parallels between you being a DJ and you being a bartender?
I mean, yeah, because you're like a performer, right? So, I when you're behind the bar, you are performer for your guests, and I like to when I'm bartending, I like to, I'm not a flair bartender, but I have my own little moves, and I like to execute it well, and I want people to have a good time and have fun and come back. So it's all a show.
That's great.
I love that.
That's so cool.
Well, we are definitely due a visit to your bar for certain. I keep promising you that we're going to get up there, and I will make good on that promise. For sure. Yes.
I mean, I know some of the old. Is the mall still there?
It's still there. I know it's a little bit of a distance for you guys, but if you need to stay the night, there is a Embassy Suites walking distance from us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So we are coming to the end of our show and our time together. But before we say goodbye, I have a few questions that I want to throw at you, as though we were sitting at your bar at happy hour.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time at your bar in your city. So these are kind of like what we like to call our last call questions. So if I was new in your city, after a cocktail at your bar, where am I going for my next good drink?
Specifically in my city?
In your city.
In Downey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say that there's not like a huge selection of craft cocktails in our city, but I definitely go like downstairs to Mandala. Gaucho Grill has good cocktails there too. There's a whole like plaza that we have in Downey called the Promenade, and there's several bars there that you can walk to. So any of those places would be great. The Promenade.
Okay. And then who's got the best burger in town?
Best burger. In-N-Out.
There you go.
Right. Very good. Very good.
Absolutely. And wasn't In-N-Out born in Downey? No, wait.
No, McDonald's. McDonald's has the
we have an original,
the oldest
we have an
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the corner of Florence and Lakewood.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I have an afternoon to kill, what should I be doing in Downey?
This is so funny because I lived here all my life. I'm like, what would I do in Downey? I always go, going to my family's house. Afternoon in Downey. It's a hard question.
That's okay. Check out a movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
The Stonewood Mall, maybe.
I mean, the Stonewood Mall is just like one of those places that has been there forever now. Definitely check out the Stonewood Mall. I like the Promenade a lot. I feel like it has so many new like places to check out. So I think the Promenade is probably where I'd go.
Okay.
Perfect.
What is one place that I should eat in Downey other than In-N-Out or McDonald's?
Other than Kuduowl?
Other than Kuduowl. Do you guys serve food?
We do, yeah. Yeah, so we serve our sister restaurant, Mandala. You can order their entire menu with us, or you can order from the pizza shop as well.
Oh, fantastic.
That's amazing.
I think that solves that question.
As far as where I would go eat, I'm a huge fan of sandwiches, and I'm always looking for a good sandwich shop. I would go to Uncle Henry's, which is on the corner of Old River and Florence. They have incredible sandwiches, and they have a huge selection of craft beer.
Nice.
Perfect.
Know.
Is there a good brunch spot in Downey?
Brunch spot, brunch. I personally don't know of any brunch,
Okay.
yeah, brunch programs that we have in Downey. I'm sure there is some. I just don't personally know of any.
Okay. And then lastly, where am I going for a beer and a shot? What's a good dive bar?
A beer and a shot? Oh gosh, there's so many good ones to choose from. So definitely like the Guardsman is a spot that I used to go to all the time. Or Powwows, another good
Right.
dive bar. Those are probably my two favorite ones.
Okay.
Very cool.
Perfect.
Oh, awesome.
Perfect.
Well,
Perfect.
Birdie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today on Manning Overboard, and I hope you had as much fun as we did.
Absolutely.
Just talking to you and
Absolutely.
hanging out.
I mean,
If people
hopefully
wanna-
we get to
Yeah.
again where I'm, maybe doing another project.
I would love that.
That would be incredible.
I would love that.
Yeah.
If people want to find you on the socials, how do they follow you in the bar on the socials?
Yeah, so Instagram, it's bad_birdie, BIRDY, or at Kuduowl. And then my Instagram has all the links to all my other socials, TikTok, YouTube, all that.
Okay. Perfect.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. And then just remember that we, Heather and I, can be found at Manning Overboard on Instagram. Or you can email us at manningoverboard@gmail.com for any questions or comments. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Yeah, you can tell that I really enjoy my blinkers. You can tell. And we look forward to seeing you at our next happy hour. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers.
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 Manning Overboard, Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain is produced and distributed by EatsDrinksTV.
A service of the nonprofit Center for Culinary Culture, home of the cocktail collection,
The Center for Culinary Culture,
telling the story of food and drink, one taste at a time.